Hey guys, Dave Huber here for Tradeway, and I am bringing you tips for Tip Tuesday. Today's tip is all about treating your trading like a business. So if you're hopping on, go ahead and throw us some love over at the comments section. Say hello. Let me know where you're watching us from, and I'll give everybody just a minute to get on live here. But today's tip is going to be kind of another one of those where I put a bunch of tips together because I have 7 ways for you to treat your trading like a business. 7 tips for you, all combined into one. And they're going to be great because if you do this, this could drastically change the way you approach your trading. It could be the breakthrough that you need in order to start succeeding. That's what we're hoping for, right? We want to get some success. And if you are in a place right now where you're having a hard time getting your trading to the point where you feel like, hey, I'm actually getting momentum, I'm getting some traction, then these 7 tips that I'm going to bring to you today are exactly what you need. I'm telling you, this has helped me a lot. And I've got kind of a new one that I added to something I've already done. So I used to have about 6. I've got a new one that I'm going to start with because it's something that I recently did that I think will be very helpful for you guys as well. So, hey, good to see that you guys are on now. I got 3 people on, 5 people on. Oh, wow, they're starting to get on fast. All right, so I got some people from Facebook. Hi, Facebook world. And I got some people from YouTube. So glad to have you on here with me. Let's get started. 7 tips to treat your trading like a business. Tip number 1, and here's the new one, right? This is the one that I just recently added for myself. Have a mission statement. Every business has a mission statement, or at least it should. And the reason why that's so important is because a mission statement, it helps frame the vision that you have for your business. And you need to treat trading like a business. If you've ever heard trading like a hobby is not what you want to do, that's true. You do not want to treat this like a hobby. Don't just mess around. Don't just dabble. Dabblers don't do well in trading. Don't be a dabbler. Be someone who's intentional about your trading, all right? So that's what having a business is all about. If you owned a business, don't you think you'd be intentional about growing that business? Well, the first step to doing that is having a vision for that business. And a mission statement is the way you frame that vision. And it does a couple of things. It doesn't just give you a vision for what you want to accomplish. It also helps you align your actions with that vision. Okay, so Proverbs 29:18, here's what it says. Where there is no vision, the people perish. But he that keepeth the law, happy is he. What you need to do is you need to line up what you see, right, the vision you have for your business, with the actions that you take for that business. And a mission statement will help you with that. So I want to share my mission statement with you. So this is my financial mission statement. And feel free to steal whatever you want out of this mission statement and make it your own, right? Like, it's totally fine for you guys to adopt any of this because a lot of it didn't come from me. It's scripturally based, and I think you'll see that. So here's my financial mission statement. I only prosper financially if and when I prosper spiritually. I seek first the kingdom of God. I rule over the assignment he gives me and trust that his blessings follow me. I am like Solomon, seeking the knowledge required to prosper in my assignment. I am the good and faithful servant that multiplies my talents and brings them back to God to use as he sees fit. For it is he that gives me the power to create wealth. I am an informed stock trader. I take educated risks, but don't gamble. I know my trades, I limit my losses, and I expect a profit. My success is measured in the impact I can have with the money I make, not in the number of dollars I acquire. I am building a legacy for my family, helping my friends, transforming my church, growing my business, affecting my community and country as a whole, because I am changing the world and money is my tool. That's my financial mission statement. Feel free to use however much of that you want. Make it your own. But make it your own. Really sit and think for a while. What does God have in store for you for your business? and then craft your mission statement around what he wants you to be, what he wants you to do, and what he wants you to have. That mission statement can give a lot of direction in the way you approach your trading. So that's tip number one, have a mission statement, okay? So tip number two, it's a little more of a hands-on practical tip for something that you need to do right away in your trading. And that is get organized. Okay. So to get organized, one of the best things you can do is have a trading journal. I use a spreadsheet. There are apps on the phone and on the computer that you can use. And I've actually been checking some of those out recently. I might switch to one of those because it's pretty cool to be able to have an app that makes things a little easier, a little faster to do. So I'd encourage you to check out the apps and the programs on the computer that you can use for making a trading journal. But here's the goal of the trading journal. You want to organize your trades by keeping track of the different strategies that you have. Okay, so like not only do you want to keep track of the different strategies that you're using, you want to keep track of when you are using them. Keep a trading journal to record your thoughts and your feelings with every trade. Now that's going to pay some dividends, intangible dividends. All right, this is a very, very important part of your trading. Here's why. It might sound like a lot of work, but when you start to understand your thoughts and feelings as you trade, you'll begin to realize where you're messing up, and you'll begin to realize how connected those thoughts and feelings are to messing up. So you'll be able to identify before you ever get in a trade if you have the right mindset for the particular trade you're trying to implement. It's so important. So like for me, a lot of the trades that I like to do debit spreads. It's one of my favorite strategies, but debit spreads require a little bit more hands-on. Like you have to really watch them closely, right? And because of that, I'm watching a chart more often. Well, the more you watch the chart, the more emotional you can become because you're seeing the money go up and down and you're just seeing it happen in real time. And so if I do these short-term debit spread trades, I can get a little bit emotional about them. So I have to keep track of the emotions I have as I trade. And then I can identify through that tracking, I can identify through getting organized, whether or not I'm in a trend of having just bad emotions, like, oh, I feel like it's a bit of a stretch, or I feel like I'm reaching for a trade, right? Like, so it's very important to keep track of your thoughts and your feelings when you organize your trades. It might sound like a lot of work, but when you do this, it'll only take you about like 10 extra minutes, maybe a little bit more, depending on how fast you type. But after you make a habit of doing it, it's not that bad. And it is huge for your trading. So get organized. That's tip number 2. Tip number 3, set quarterly goals. Now, this is important for a couple of reasons. So when you set quarterly goals, what you're doing is you're setting smaller goals. We all have that big goal, that big mission, that big vision for our trading, but smaller goals give you intermediate wins if you can obtain those goals. Now, these goals are not supposed to be all about profit. They can be about profit, like I want to try to make 5% this month or 10% this month. It can be something like that, but you need more than just that as your short-term goals. And I think a quarterly goal is a good goal to set because it gives you about 3 months to really hone in on a particular goal and meet it. If you're brand new to trading, maybe your quarterly goal is do my first trade, like paper trade for the first 2 months and then do a real trade the 3rd month, right? Like get my feet wet. If you've been trading for a while, maybe that quarterly goal is to journal better, or maybe it has to do with profit. Maybe it's, I want to experience 10% less expenses than I did my last quarter, right? Like make them short-term intermediary goals so that when you can start having these smaller wins, you'll start to feel momentum. It will motivate you. It will get you excited to reach that next goal. And when you reach the first goal, pat yourself on the back. It's so important to recognize that you've reached a goal and then take it to the next level. All right, so that's tip number 3. Tip number 4, stay committed, guys. Stay committed to the process. This is not a sprint. This is a marathon. Treat it as such. Train, 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 and don't expect to just build Rome in a day, right? Like, this is going to take some time. That's why the quarterly goals are so important, because you can have some intermediary success, something short term that can kind of make you feel like you've got some traction, but you've got to stay committed to the process. And when you are a business owner, you're committed almost by default, because part of the beauty of having a business is that you're almost forced to work. And that sounds bad, but and I know for you business owners out there, the goal is not to work, right? Like, you want to get to the point where you own the business, it doesn't own you. But what I mean by staying committed is that if you truly are committed to that mission statement, that goal, or even just the quarterly goals that you set, then you are going to put in the work to get to those goals. And as soon as you stop putting in the work, I'm telling you, you're going to have a hard time ever changing your life. So you got to stay committed to the process. All right, so that's tip number 4. Tip number 5, guys, track your expenses. Now, this kind of goes hand in hand with getting organized, right? Like, you're going to track your expenses in your trading journal, but make this a real focus. Like, anytime a trade goes against you, it's time to put some thought into what happened, right? Like, what went wrong? Peyton Manning, one of the best football players who's ever lived. He's a very successful football star, as you know, quarterback. He's retired now, but one of the things that he said he did that contributed the most to his success is that he watched game tape. That means he reviewed a lot of the plays from the games that he played in. But he wasn't watching the defense or even his receivers so much. He watched himself. He analyzed how he reacted as the defense came after him. So that's what tracking expenses is all about, right? And journaling, right? These two kind of go hand in hand. Like I said, you want to get organized and you want to track those expenses. The reason why you want to track those expenses is because it's going to help you identify how are you reacting when the expenses come. All right. What are your feelings? All right. That's back to the organized part. What are your feelings when the expenses come? Because you've all been here, right? You've all been to that point where the trade goes against you and you go, man, if it'll just come back up a little bit, then I'll sell. All right. And I'll get my money back. Or then it goes against you more. Well, I've lost this much. It doesn't really matter if I lose a little bit more. See, those are bad thoughts. And you won't really understand that you're going through these thought processes unless you track the expenses and you journal about how you're feeling in those expenses. Now, in any business, when you're tracking expenses, the goal is to keep the expenses under control. So as you start trading, if you see that you're having expense after expense after expense and you're not getting any profits, maybe it's time to analyze your approach. And really that's the next step. So tip number 5, track your expenses. Tip number 6, analyze and adapt. All right. So you're going to analyze your expenses, analyze the feelings that you've had during those trades, and you're going to adapt based on your analysis. Like, if you see I'm doing a particular strategy at a particular time and it's going against me time and time and time again, I've got to analyze, why is it going against me? Do I have the wrong buy point? Am I stopping out too late? Am I getting in too early or getting in too late? Am I getting out too early, getting out too late? So you've got to make sure also, am I choosing my stocks based on analysis, or am I just watching a newsletter and listening to somebody else say, you should go buy this stock? Like, don't forget the rules that we teach at Tradeway. We teach you how to analyze the stocks and get into trades based on real research. Well, when you track your expenses and you journal your feelings, you might start to realize that you've strayed away from those things. And you'll only realize it as you analyze those findings. So you got to analyze, and then you got to adapt, change your behavior if it's not working out, right? But if it is working, if you're doing great and your analysis says, hey, you're doing great, you're making profit, nothing seems to go wrong. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. All right. So analyze and adapt. That is tip number 6. And so tip number 7, here's the final one. All right. Tip number 7, approach your taxes like a trading business. What do you mean, Dave? Well, businesses are taxed differently than people, all right, than individuals. So like if you go to a job and you're just a W-2 worker, for instance, all right, and you get paid by your employer. You get paid and they take out taxes based on how much you get paid. So they take the tax out first, and then you get to spend whatever's left. But with businesses, it works a little bit differently. With businesses, you get paid and then you spend, and whatever's left is what you get taxed on. All right. So that's why you've heard that businesses get taxed, or that's why you've heard businesses write off their expenses. What that means is they get paid money, then they spend. So there's a little bit less money left. All right. And whatever's left is what they get taxed on. What does that mean? Well, if you spend right and you make money the right way and you join these two together, you can actually reduce your tax liability, which means you can pay less in taxes. That's important, right? That is something that can be done, but in order to do it, you need to know how to set up your trading as an actual business entity. And I have a way for you to do that, okay? There's a free webinar for you to go and check out. It's a really cool online event where we're going to teach you all about this stuff. It's in conjunction with some affiliates of ours that are just awesome people. The Prime Corporate Services people, they're awesome. It's a great company and they are excellent at their customer service. Here's what they're going to do. They're just going to get on and show you guys a little bit about how to set up trading like a business, all right? And they're going to discuss all the ins and outs of that. I'm not a tax advisor, so I can't really go any deeper than I did today about that. And you wouldn't want me to anyway, because that's not my field of favor, okay? My field of favor has to do with other things, not taxes and setting up entities. So I'd like to invite you guys to this really cool online event. Let me show you. There's a link. I'm putting it in the comment section right now. It's going to blast out to Facebook and YouTube. So check that out. I just sent it. Click that link, register. It's absolutely free. We want to see you on there, and you'll have an opportunity to check out how to set up your trading like a trading business so that perhaps you can take advantage of the tax advantages there. So anyway, there you have it. I'll run through them one last time. Here we go. Have a mission statement. That's tip number 1, to treat your trading like a business. Tip number 2, get organized. You want to get organized. Tip number 3, set quarterly goals. Tip number 4, stay committed to the process. Tip number 5, track your expenses. Number 6, analyze and adapt. And number 7, approach taxes like a trading business. Guys, those are your tips for the day. And I want to see you in that PCS online event. Make sure you click the link. You'll see all the details. You'll be able to register for free. Thank you so much for joining Tip Tuesday here on Facebook and YouTube world. And thanks for joining me live. We'll see you in the webinar, and then we'll see you in the market. Y'all take care.